I'm now going to show you the next stage of making the maple bonsai. This one is very badly stuck in there, but let's see if I can get it out. And it's been in this pot for only a year, and look at it, already pot bound. But a very interesting tree indeed. So the original cut was made here, but these side shoots grew, and the movement is very interesting there, and the way it leans there is interesting, but I don't need all of that, so I'm going to cut that there, hope that you have more branches there. And this back branch here, that has helped to thicken that part, but I don't really need that one, so I'm going to cut this off. So if I can ask with the loppers, we will just lop this off over here. Over there. You must be wondering what I'm going to do with that. That serves no purpose, so I'm going to cut that off. This can produce branches, and I can see the new leader could either come from here or from there. And as I said, I never cut flush to the leader point because it can die back further. You notice I cut there and it died back there. So with maples, you've always got to allow some room for dieback. So this is all I'll need to do with this. I will probably tease the roots out, do like a repotting job, and put it in a temporary training pot, because within a year I will have all new branches, and this will be the start of another very nice maple bonsai. So let's move on, because I have lots of these. We have hundreds of these on the nursery. So the next one is look at the roots on that. Just grown through the pot, so vigorous. And as you can see, it's got beautiful movement there, but left to their own devices, they produce a lot of twigs. I think for most people who are not so well versed in bonsai, they would be quite happy to have a tree like this. In fact, some of the commercial bonsai are not as nice as this, and this would sell as a very nice bonsai. You could get away with just leaving it like that, but I think if you wanted a very nice example, I think we need to do a little more. See, the base is beautiful over here, absolutely beautiful base, and I think we can take that off and let it go that way. This we can wire and go like that. So a very nice looking natural tree, and I think we could put this in a plastic training pot, and this would make a very nice bonsai. So you can see the different stages of work. We cut off a thick branch from there, another thick branch from there, and we allowed this to grow. So this is well advanced to becoming a nice bonsai. So it's quite nice from many different sides. So this could even be put in a round pot. Now let's move on to some other ones. This was an air layering I did about 2 years ago, and I air layered at a junction, because a junction is a very good place to make air layerings. If we can just have the root hook, please, Steve, we will tease away to see what the roots are doing. Usually with air layered trees, they don't have very nice surface roots. There you are, you see, when I say it was an air layering, I have this to prove. The original moss ball is still here. Look, this is the moss that was used to make the air layering. But it's such a vigorous tree. Many people don't believe that you can make nice bonsai from air layering. Look at this. This was only air layered 2 years ago. The original moss ball still here. But look at the roots that it has produced. Beautiful, massive roots. Unfortunately, a lot of the roots are at the top. Let's tease away and see what we can get. I planted this deep, so the roots have come to the top, but I think most of the roots are at the bottom. I will just get Steve to tease the root ball while I work on another tree. Again, look at the beautiful base on this tree. Always look at the base before you make a decision on the front or the back. So with this as the base facing you, I think this is a natural front. If you do it this way, it's not so nice. Even this is not very nice. So we go back to that side, and this is the nicest front. So there's too much going on there. So we'll probably cut all that off and see what happens. This is a fairly easy one. We've just removed some of the other unwanted bits which were at the top so that you have a single leader. And then it's got beautiful movement. And if we put it in a bigger pot, it'll thicken even more and more branches will grow. So this is the start of another nice Japanese maple bonsai. This particular tree has been growing here for a long time. It has been successively moved on from one pot to the next. But as you can see, it's got beautiful gnarled old trunk, gnarled old roots. And I haven't decided which is going to be the front and which is going to be the back. But there are many, many options. I think this is a very nice front here. So the tree is so nice that just by trimming some of the tips will create a very nice looking twiggy maple bonsai. That part is very straight. I will probably keep it because you'll find it'll make a lot of twigs. So this has been progressively cut. It was cut back here first, here and then there. And during all this time it's made a very nice gnarled old trunk. I may keep this, but I don't really need it. So all the superstructure has been grown in the last, I would say, maybe 3 or 4 years. So this tree has probably been made over the last 15 years to get to this stage. But it's already a very, very nice bonsai, all made indigenously here. Now this is a variety which is called Beni-chidori, and this particular type of tree air lays very, very easily. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this was air laid only about 2 years ago. And I will just show you when I say I've layered the tree. I usually know the history of every tree, and I can already see that if you prod around, you will find the original sphagnum moss. Here you are. This is the sphagnum moss which was used to air layer the tree. So this air layer was made again only 2 years ago. You can still see the original moss ball which was used for air layering. So it doesn't take long to make a thick trunk bonsai. I will just tease that to see what's below. Look at it. That's the original moss ball for air layering. And look at all that moss. Usually with air-layered trees, you don't have these thick, ugly surface roots. So you can always create nice surface roots by choosing the roots you want to develop and then spreading it around. See, there's such a lot of roots to choose from. Look at that beautiful moss ball, sphagnum moss. So this is one instance where instead of cutting the tree off at the top, we made an air layering and we got a bonsai in 2 years with a thick trunk like this. So we didn't have to wait 30, 40 years. If you do it correctly, you get this beautiful tree simply by air layering. Look at all that moss from the air layering. Beautiful trunk. It's at least 2 to 3 inches thick at the base. And I can now create the nibari by choosing the correct roots and spreading it out. I have a lot of choices on this tree, and because it's so twiggy, I can afford to cut some of this back. I don't want it to grow too rampant. So this is another instance of a nice air-layered tree. I will show you the other one that Steve's been working on. I was telling you about this tree. This was air-layered, and when you air layer, look at the roots that have formed. And this is still the original moss ball from air layering. So I have so many roots that I don't have to worry about the health of the tree. I can probably cut some of them off. Now this tree gives us this option. Nice thick trunk. I can cut that back there. You see where we leave it proud, it dies back naturally to this point. I may keep this as a sacrificial branch. That means while it's growing, it'll thicken the trunk. So you get a very nice spread over there, a root spread, beautiful root spread. So the front of the tree can remain like this. Probably take this off. Might even take this off over here in the hope that this will become the new leader. So I'll be patient, put it back in the flower pot and grow it on like this. I probably don't need this. If I have too many branches, it'll thicken it too much. So this will be cut back there. This is the sacrificial branch to thicken the trunk. And this is going to be the future direction of this tree. So again, I've shown you two examples of air layering which we've done only 2 years ago. This is the original moss that you can still see. Just shows that you can get very nice bonsai just by air layering, which is a very, very quick method. Now this is a beautiful maple, and I brought it complete like this because it just shows how vigorous maples can be. This was growing in a flower pot, but the roots went through the pot and grew into the ground. So these were all the roots that went into the ground. And of course, while they were growing into the ground, it made this a very, very vigorous tree. But I don't need all these roots because I know maples are strong trees. So they will produce new roots quite easily. Okay, so we put this in a training pot, but can you see the beautiful base that we've got here? Those of you who know my famous split trunk maple, it's called Peter Chan's split trunk maple, you will realize that this tree is very, very similar in character to that tree. So I will just cut a few more roots. Right, if we compare it with the picture of my split trunk maple, it's literally split like this. But I don't want the middle trunk, so we will get rid of the middle trunk. Whenever you use a sharp saw, make sure you use a left-hand glove, because if the saw slips, you can cut your hand. So I always use a left-hand glove. Get that out of the way, and then it will die back naturally. Again, from recollection, one trunk is slightly shorter than the other, so I can cut that off. And I will plant it in a strong pot, and then the superstructure will be like this. And this is what the base of the tree will be like. If you compare it with the picture of my split trunk maple, it's virtually identical to the split trunk maple that I have. So this is going to be the start of another Peter Chan split trunk maple, and I can guarantee you in 3 years I will have a complete tree. There is one more tree that we wish to show you. Right, there are not many maples that we make into an S shape, because if you want to make an S shape, you've got to use very, very thin trunks. So this was probably wired when the tree was no thicker than this, about matchstick thick, wired with wire to get that S shape and then allowed to grow. So it's got to this stage. This, I think, could be the original tree, but because we've air layered so many, I'm not even sure that if this could even be an air layer of another tree. But this is as far as I've got, but I'm going to show you the future direction of this tree. Now, as you can see, it's so prolific that there are hundreds of little twigs and branches. We don't need them all. We don't want the tree to waste too much energy on all that. So I will select some of these branches, some to grow on, some I may not. Even that I may not. But what I really need is a good leader growing from that place. Many of these, so many that you probably don't want them all. Even this is growing straight out at you. I don't want that. Don't want these. This I could have. Probably not that one. There's so many here, all we need is one of them. Now you must be wondering why I have left this. Again, this is what I call a sacrificial branch. I've left this deliberately to thicken the base. Now I will keep it on for another couple of years and will thicken this even more. And once that work has been done, I will then cut it off. But I won't cut it off prematurely. So the next stage really is to wait for this tree to grow a little more, wait for a new leader to grow, and then you can see that this is going to be a beautiful S-shaped maple bonsai. So I hope this gives you some insight into how we train some of these different trees with a lot of superstructure. There are other trees that we sometimes also deal with. We sometimes buy maples that have been grafted, and I will show you some Deshojo maples. These are grafted Deshojos because Deshojos are not that easy to produce from cuttings or from seeds, so they've been grafted, but the graft is not very good. And all that has been done to this tree is constant chopping back to produce an interesting superstructure. But let's see what I will do to this. Don't be tempted to keep thick branches, because if you keep too many thick branches, they become cumbersome and they seem to be out of character with the rest of the tree. So thick branches like this one here, I will probably get rid of. I don't think it's in keeping with the character of the tree, so I will get rid of this. And I will cut it back to the trunk. I may keep this as a sacrificial branch to thicken this trunk over here. Where I have too many thick leaders at the top, I certainly don't need all of them. So I'm going to get rid of quite a few of them and just keep one. If I keep too many, it makes that part of the trunk thick and you lose the taper. So if I keep this as the front, I can just keep one leader. And that's all I will keep. So that's how I deal with these grafted trees. The base is quite interesting. But with grafted trees, you've got to make sure that the suckers don't grow up, otherwise they will take the energy from the tree and it'll take over the tree. I have another Deshojo grafted tree to show you, because now again you see that there is a fork here, which is like 2 leaders. We don't want the 2 leaders, so I can either use this as the new leader, or I can use the other side as the leader. So it's one or the other, and I think I will probably choose the taller one. This is very near to the finished article. So I hope that these examples will give you some idea as to how I come to choosing the options for the future of the trees. And it's largely dictated by the base to determine the front and an interesting trunk line. This has got quite a nice trunk line now. And maples you will get a lot of enjoyment from. I will just show you another thing which I've just noticed. This was cut only about 2 minutes ago, and can you see the sap which is coming out? This is the sap that is rising at this time of the year. This is the end of January, and you can see that the sap is flowing. It's almost like tears coming out. In fact, a lot of the deciduous trees like silver birch, at this time of the year, if you prune it, they bleed and lose a lot of moisture. And in Sweden, they use the sap for making a type of wine or drink. And maples can also be used for making some sort of drink, I believe. So you don't have to worry about the bleeding, because the bleeding will eventually stop. If you try and seal it, the sealant will just get washed off. But after a period of time, the bleeding stops. So don't worry too much about it. Maples are much hardier than you think they are. So that's why maples are one of my favorite subjects for making bonsai. Hope you've enjoyed this video.